NQ Ice Iceberg sell NQ 150 contracts.
Good morning, you guys hear me? In YouTube land and in Discord land. Anybody there? Be alert. Be alert. Thank you, Michael. Alright, I'll be back in 90 seconds after these disclaimers.
Risk disclosure statement. There is a risk of loss in trading stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, derivatives, options, forex, and cryptocurrencies. This risk can be substantial, and therefore investors should carefully consider their financial suitability prior to trading. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. The software, strategies, chat rooms, websites, and any associated websites or digital venues are for educational purposes only and should not be construed as an express or implied promise or guarantee that you will profit by losses may be limited in any manner whatsoever. Users of the information accept full responsibility for the outcomes of their deployment in most cycles. Trader, LLC, and any associated companies, agents, management, owners, and customers harmless without reservation. Please trade responsibly. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, Rule 4.41, hypothetical and simulated trading performance results have certain inherent limitations, some of which are described herein. No representation is being made that any outcome below is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those shown. In fact, there are frequently sharp differences between hypothetical or simulated performance results and the actual results subsequently achieved by any particular trading program. One of the limitations of hypothetical performance results is that they are generally prepared with the benefit in hindsight. In addition, hypothetical trading does not involve financial risk, and no hypothetical trading record can completely account for the impact of financial risk in actual trading. For example, the ability to withstand losses or adhere to a particular trading program in spite of trading losses are material points which can also adversely affect actual trading results. Because these traits have not actually been executed, the hypothetical results may have or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. There are numerous other factors related to markets in general or to the implementation of any specific trading program which cannot be fully accounted for in simulated trading or in the preparation of hypothetical performance results at all, of which can adversely affect actual trading results.
This trading room and this webinars are not intended to mirror my trades or to give specific trading recommendations. Analysis of share trades and potential trades may take place based on my personal analysis. The goal of this room is to teach traders how to identify specific areas of trading financial themselves, but ultimately the decision is yours. Trading is extremely risky, and if you decide to follow my personal trades, you can store your own risk and potentially lose your entire account and even more. I'm not always profitable and have routine drawdowns on my trading accounts. The spreadsheet you have access to is my personal spreadsheet that I use to enter zone values and ATR values and I'll give you exact prices for my trades. You can see when I enter zone prices into the master spreadsheet as well as the prices to enter trades whether you want to go long or short. You have the ability to copy the spreadsheet and enter in your own values and use mine to confirm zone prices until you're able to draw the zones correctly yourself. The spreadsheet is not telling you which direction to trade, as it has entry prices and stop prices for both long and short positions depending on which way you personally decide to trade. Alright. Good morning. If I'm not loud enough, let me know. I'll try to figure this out on this software that broadcasts. I think that was an issue last week too, so I don't know really what to do there, but if it's still very faint, let me know. Alright, so I don't know if you guys heard, so yesterday we found a cure for cancer, world peace, and dogs and cats living together. So, I mean, just absolute insanity run here. I was just kidding with the world peace and everything else, but I mean, these markets are just like, I mean, this market, like Russell is, I mean, it's just laughable pretty much, but it is what it is, right? And this is one of those instances where you never say this can't keep going. I'm short right now, pretty unwise given, we'll go over this, but we are in an Izzy zone. These are inflection zones from prior, and this is way back. That's why this is so wide. It was basically based on a daily chart because I can't even go back and be granular like I am with the 60-minute chart. So this is a little wider. Anyway, I've got my volume events in the middle of this zone, and we'll go over that. And I actually doubled up. So the reason I'm a little, I mean, this is a straight move into the Izzy zone. Obviously, you know, these are the best trades for these inflection zones. So I have different strategies. We'll go over a bunch of them today, but one of them are, you know, my important areas. Let me get my jar going here. Hold on a second. I have my important areas, and then I watch them for real-time volume events, right? Because that's what's happening right now. So I got my real-time volume event, sell ice in this area, and these are the best Izzies when you get straight moves into them. So again, this is a pretty wide zone, but I took the short. Why I'm still not convinced this can break down. We'll get into Hero. Hero is why I basically shorted this, I mean, I would have shorted anyway, but I added to it too. This is what's worrying me, and I'm not supposed to short in this environment. When you see the ADD advanced decline line, 2,000 or more, that's trend up day. You want to be very careful taking any shorts. They're very short-lived, no pun intended, right? The moves down are very shallow, and then the bigger moves are up. So I'm fighting that. I already know that. Tick can't get below the zero line. You're never going to get a meaningful sell-off if this thing can't at least start hitting, get under 500 or to hopefully 1,000. So I got the internals, and this is basically the overall market, right? That stuff's all working against this trade. So, I took it. It was basically kind of a FU type of trade. Like, this is ridiculous. This is enough. But I mean, I'm really rolling the dice here. But on the other side, so we talk about all the time in my trade room anyway, having a scale, right? And very rarely you're going to see everything on one side of the scale like that lines up bearish or bullish, right? So, we just went over on the bullish side. ADD is trend up. Tick can't get below zero. Obviously, the markets have ripped up. The other thing is algo guy. I'm fighting algo guy here. We'll go into that. So, it's going to be a chore to get through this longer term moving average. So, those are all the bullish things. Bearish things. Paper did come in and sell here. Pretty much, this is a very important spot gamma level. A lot of times, this is a general area where dealers have to hedge, and you can see they are hedging here. Right, we'll go over this, but on the bearish side, sell ice is coming in, big money. This was thousands of sell ice, and then again, Heroes ripping down too. So I would count that as probably two because these are big players. So again, you can use your scale to judge, hey, there's enough going in my favor to take this trade, or you can, if you see it, even if it wasn't as zone and you see 15 things on the bullish side, and I'll show you something else that's bearish too here in a second, then you could say I'm going to pass on this trade. But I took the trade. Again, it's not going to surprise me if this holds this spot gamma level and rips off the page. But I took it, and I took it the first time here. So came up, we got the sell ice. I got it aggressively because it was my Izzy zone. Came up again, more sell ice. I took it again, and now kind of being tortured here. The other thing, as far as shorter term thesis stuff that we go over all the time in my room here. Hold on. So first of all, line in the sand here are very important. If this area can break, then you might have something going, right? This is the footprint, 50,000. So this is how I look at footprint. I tried to trade off of this a long time ago, was never able to do anything spectacular with it. Some people swear by it. I don't see it. I never have. I tried it for years and years and years, and I was at best an average trader. How I do use this is look at the total volume here, right? And then when you use this as lines in the sand. So it's kind of like looking at a volume event, right? These are loaded up traders. The buyers were aggressive. They sold out. That's not that heavy a volume there, but you can see the buyers are kind of waning too. But the point is, you've got over 100,000 contracts in this area, and it's starting to die down too. So that feels like to me like there's a little breath holding here. So if this can get below this area, if you're a big buyer here, what are you feeling if it does that? Get me the hell out, right? So that's what I'm hoping for. If this holds, it's probably going to rip off the page. So just mark this as your line in the sand and what happens here. As far as the shorter term thesis we talk about, these are Ludwig levels. We'll talk about these at length because they're insanely powerful. A thesis you can come up with here many times when the Ludwig levels have enough of the ingredients to build new lugs. If this is truly a bullish market right now, short term, it should hold prior red directional yellow. Directional yellow is like the median, right? So you can see here, try to get below. This should have got back up to red, didn't, back below. So if it holds here, I expect blue. So this is just coming up with like a thesis where a lot of instances, if you get a bunch of theses lined up in one way, when you get your volume events, you can trade bigger size, right? So I do have double size on. Again, I'm not holding my breath on this one because of what we talked about with the internals, but there are some things pointing like this thing could sell off. So we'll see. This is one of the biggest one. You do have this wind at your sails. So this is the hero. I've been talking about this a lot more lately. We did a webinar with them last week. I think that was just for subscribers. If you go to my main page on my, you go to my website, we'll talk about this stuff too. I'll show you where this is on my site. So go down here. I got some videos. So this is the most recent one I did with them. I thought I had two on there. Hold on, I guess not. So that's the most recent one I did with them. So you can watch that. But, you know, these are big players in the market, these options dealers, because they have to, the options come into these dealers and then they have to turn around and hedge with futures, right? So obviously they're unloading here. There's other entities in the markets a lot of days. Today is a day there's probably going to be bigger entities in the market. So you don't want to put your full, you know, not trust, but put all your eggs in one basket relying on Hero, because usually the day after the FOMC, that's when the real big players start to trade, you know, get positions on, and that's a little scary, right? If you had this kind of move right after the number, I can just see this thing continuing to go, where the big money feels, especially end of the year, big money feels like they're going to miss the boat. They got to get in. They can't. How are they going to explain to their customers that they didn't catch this run, right? So a lot of times it's just this cascade of mine. So this could keep going up today. We'll see, based on, you know, again, the bigger players usually come in the next day after the FOMC. So we're just spinning in place here. Let's see what happens there. I was going to point something else out. I'm currently long crude as well. This was a volume setup here. This was some buy ice here. You can see right there. There's two little patches there. That's that event. And these are my trading strategies that I'm using, right? So different trading strategies for different things. So for this strategy, I took the bark, blind ATR, retest, confirm, go over that, and the lick, where I'm trading to the liquidity. So in order to put those on, I need algo guide to be confirming in my favor. So again, this is just an exponential moving average. Short-term moving average bands are the blue, longer term are the red. When the blue's above the red, it's bullish. When the red's above, the blue's below the red, is bearish, right? So I use this as my filter for my barks and my lick strategies. So you can see this is clearly bullish. So I got in, and then for both of those trades, I wait for some trades, like the Izzy trades, I get in the first ATR move out of there, I'm in. Other ones, I wait for the retest of the volume event, then I get in. That's the confirm, and I get in. So I got in. It came up here, struggled with this liquidity a little bit. I got out of some of them. But for the rest of my lick trade, I'm looking at this liquidity way up here, right? So that's my main target for the lick.
Iceberg by NQ, 181 contracts.
There we got something in NQ too. Something else just fired off.
Iceberg by RT, 152 contracts.
We got some action, and I'm definitely looking at this the red lug. So these lugs are ridiculously powerful. Here's an example from today. NQ, how did that work out? Pretty good. So this is why I use these things, right? The best trades are when you get events at the lugs, right? So once again, I don't trade these blindly. You could, people do, people did before, you know, SI indicator. But when you get a volume event that shows bearish at these areas or bullish at the blue, they're incredible. So anyway, that bounced off of there. Like I said, this is going to be a fight trying to be short these markets, and the other thing too, if this moves down to any important areas, you'd be wise. Like this is I got it. It's only like 3 points from where I got in, but normally I would get out at VWAP. You know, if it's confluent with something else, it's not really confluent with anything in this instance. But I'm definitely going to be watching always the blue lug. I might get out of all of them in the blue lug, but I'll be watching. There's baby lug that's confluent with daily value area. Daily value area is just one standard deviation from VWAP. So my point is, when you hit these areas in an environment like it is right now with the ADD so high, you'd be very wise to start to cover some of your position. You don't have to cover all of it. You know, I'm trying to see if I can get down to the blue lug, but I will not mess around at areas that there's confluence, right, where things are agreeing with each other. So hold on. So I'm still, again, long crude. See what happens there. So I'm in this trade to either I'm going to actually put this up here in case I'm missing an alert, red lug, or if I get an opposing volume event, then I'll trail my stop to that. So I'll get out at the red lug for my bark trade, and then I'm going to try to carry my lick trade all the way up to this long-term liquidity up here, which is a magnet, right? It's not meaning, hey, I should get short because there's sellers up there. It's the market's going to make it there. So you can see what's going on here. So the options dealers are affecting this market so far. You can see this thing, and you want to look for notional moves, right? Important notional moves. It's in that video that I just showed you on my website. Take a look at that. But if you see $1 billion or more, it's very meaningful. And it just means that dealers are getting loaded up with options, and they have to turn around and hedge. So when you see $1 billion or more, it's important. Well, you can see here, this is a $3 billion move, and that's why it's one of the reasons. This is just one player in the market, but this is a large player, especially when you see $3 billion, they have to hedge. So they're unloading their futures onto the market, right? Somebody's in here trying to hold this thing, but it's getting pummeled right now. Not pummeled, but it's pummeled for current conditions. All right, this is getting really close to this daily value area. If I can get one more wave down, I'm definitely getting out of half if it bounces. And this is where you want to use your market pulse and tick strike, where you can see the current order flow to try to judge, hey, is it going to bust through there or is it going to bounce, right? And obviously your buy and sell bubbles. So we'll bring this back here. So that's at 73.25-ish. Pretty close already. Plus you have these spot gamma levels too. So they're still unloading here. Let's keep an eye on that. And I'm going to bring, you want to watch market pulse too. So you can see here, just with market pulse.
NQ stop sell NQ 153
I forgot to get my thank you. All right, here we are at that level. So now I'm going to try to judge. I can't get over to NASDAQ right now because I have this position on. So I'm going to judge here if this is going to be able to push through. I obviously got this going for me, which is nice. Caddyshack. But I want to see if this can't get through here. I'm going to cover at least half of these. And remember, I have double size on too, so I'm getting out a lot if it can't push through here. Hold on, let me, this is where you use this. I use it. And it's kind of struggling here. So we'll see. I'll give it a second. I got to be able to... Come on. Keep going. How about a fat finger swipe down to 0 right quick? That would be nice. All right, I'm gonna get out of half just because I just know, you know, I'm fighting. It was pretty impressive for me to put on double size. Not impressive. It was actually kind of stupid, but I'm glad it worked out. Put it that way. Okay, yeah, I just had Izzy on there. Hold on, let me get out of these here. All right, so you see, you know, it's starting to bounce. They're not hitting these stocks, right? Spot gamma level. We saw that was confluent, the VWAP daily value area with baby lug. They're not hitting the stocks. Spot gamma level. That's why I got out. Let me get out a couple more on this one. Hold on here. All right. So that's that. Now let's see what's going on. So I still have half on. I could get out of all these. But I'm going to try to wait, see if we can get down to the blue lug, because that's, like we talked about, you know, that's the thesis with the lugs. We already talked about this, but when you form new lugs, if it can't hold prior red directional yellow, you expect blue. So let's see if it can make it down there. It's not that far. It's only 5 more points. I probably shouldn't even mess around here, but why not? Let's just see if this is pulling back a little bit. So again, I'm fighting the overall market. It's barely pulled back. Right, so these are all the stocks in the stock universe. So I'm fighting this. This is the overall stock market is still strong, and you can see this tick can't even get below minus 500. You're not going to see meaningful continuation sell-offs unless this thing starts tagging minus 1,000 or pretty close to it. So I hope I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty much not. I mean, I've still got this going for me, like I said, which is nice. All right, let's see what's happening here. Sweeps are showing both black and white dots. It's just buy sweeps and sell sweeps. So I have mine set very, it's very sensitive. I only have it set like ES or NQ, for instance. I only have it set at 150. If you really want to see meaningful sweeps, you want to put it at about 4 times the thresholds for these volume events, right? So for ICE, so iceberg thresholds in NASDAQ are 150. So I would put 600 sweeps to see the meaningful sweeps in here. Right, I have them on my stop quantity thresholds just because it helps me draw the zones better, but I have this automatic zone drawer, and I'm going to post this here in a second. I forgot to post this. I just want to show you real quick what 600 would look like. Let's see here. I'm going to change this to 600. Right, no meaningful sweeps except for this sell sweeps here. So that's interesting, but that's why I have it. But if you're going to do it, like I said, so for instance, ES, every time there's 500 firing off, which is not a lot in ES, it's showing me the sweeps. So I use that to draw because that's my stop run threshold, right? This thing's really struggling in this area. I really want to probably get out of these. Hold on a second. I just want to show you this. So if I were to do 4 times threshold here, so my threshold for icebergs are 700. So if I made that, see how it's just like if I put it on 2, they're everywhere. 2800. Whoops. So there you go. So there hasn't been any meaningful sweeps. I'm really contemplating getting out of these shorts. I just have a feeling we're going to rip back up. But I try my best not to trade my feeling. My feeling means nothing anymore. It used to be the core of my trading, right? When I was a scalper. Nowadays, my feeling is wrong 80% of the time. That's why I have rules and trading strategies that I follow. And I ignore my feeling. Yeah, there's something. So there's something to be said for intuition, you know, but feeling with algos these days is just, it's not a good way to trade. All right, so you got some stuff. NQ's begging me to trade it, so I'm going to see what's going on here. Then we'll head over to Russell. So this is market pulse. You can see the sellers are hitting this market, and this is showing me, we'll go over these settings a little bit. This is showing me this is the most selling in the last hour. It's hitting threshold almost 100% here, here, and here. So you can see there was the sweeps that caused this threshold, but then there were some buy sweeps in here too. Like I said, it's marked at 150, so these could have been much heavier, which they probably were with that, but you're seeing the buy sweeps involved as well. What does that mean? It just means there's two-sided trade here. You know, they're battling. So, and this was part of a stop run too. So, and that's why I drew the stop zone. Before I forget, if you guys want to try out this drawing tool, which is ridiculously helpful, instead of drawing it by hand, let me post this in the YouTube room. My Discord stream is not working. What's not working? Like you can't hear me or you can't see anything? Hold on. Head over there and see. Can you turn on your mic here? That's what I need. Hold on, let me see what this is. I have that. I have it on high there. Dan, mic aux on the bottom of your OBS and reshare your screen to Discord. But this is on max, so I don't know why it's not picking up, why it's so silent for you guys. Let me reshare this though. I don't know why it's not working. Let me refresh here. And then we'll go over this. Anyway, here's the beta. You got to go in here. And let me do this real quick. That should work in Discord. Sorry about that. Let me know if it's not. And then I'll post this in my room as well. There you go. All right. So let's see where we are in Mr. NASDAQ. I'm going to refer to him by his nice name until he starts screwing me. Then I have another name for him.
NQ iceberg by NQ, 287
So you can see all these events are happening in the Sizzy zone. So I could have easily been short this market too off of these events up here if I just didn't get over there for that trade because I was watching that crappy ES. All right, so let's just, you can see, so here is, this is a delayed double whammy. What's a double whammy? It's one of my 6 trading setups of my course. Hold on, let me see. I like showing this because it's easier to relate to what I'm talking about. Nasdaq just sitting in the sun, so I got a little time here. Sorry, I would have all the stuff set up on my computer restarted in the middle of the night, which was awesome. So I got up and I had to redo everything. Kind of a pain in the ass. Let's see here. Crude or natural gas numbers in 5 minutes too. Hold on a second. I All right, so this is my course, right? 2023 course. You can get it on it's in that document link or on my website. So these are the 6 setups that I'm taking, looking for at important areas. So right here we have a double whammy that just happened in NASDAQ, right?
Stock by ZB, 891 contracts.
So we had the sell stops, which is usually just retail trader pukes, into the waiting hands of buy ice. You had 342 here, another 300 here. So I can take this. Let's see if this might be bearish is the problem. You can hear stuff. I missed a huge trade in bonds this morning too. I heard it and I didn't get over there because I was doing my inflection zone charts from my room and for my website, and I missed the trade. I'll show you that here so I can complain about that. So let's get this drawn. So I'm just going to combine all of these together because it was, we were looking for concentrated areas where traders are loaded up, right? Pukes. Then you had buy ice. So this is an important area. Then I'm just going to, and they're right on top of each other, so I'm just going to put them together. Just make sure these, the zone drawer is still in beta, so if you try it out, I'll get over to that in a second. You got to be patient with it. That's why it's beta. And that's why it's free, because we're trying to get it to where it's working properly all the time. All right, so this triggered there. So I would just want to get this bias correct. That was there. Triggered more there. So you just look where this thing spikes, and then you look at your bubbles and see if that's accurate. And it is there. See how that spiked down to there. And you want your last price line on the chart too. I can't remember how to do it now. Right click, or actually go over here. Where is it? I can't remember how to do it now. I haven't done it in a while. Oh, here we go. Just right click on the chart. Configure visible components. Make sure your last price line's checked. That'll help you draw the zones better. And instead of I used the bubbles for years, and that was not correct. Like the tops and bottoms of bubbles, it's actually the middle of the bubbles. All right, so then this is pretty much flat lining, so nothing really happened more there. Hopefully NASDAQ waits for me while I do all this. And then you had more here come in, and it drew another zone, and you can see it was down to there. Actually started up here, right there. Let's get that going. This awesome scroll feature on this drawing tool. I'm telling you, this saves me like hours a day off of my life, not having to draw these zones anymore, just adjusting them. You can see it spiked a little bit down to there, so I'll bring it back down here. So this was probably right. I just screwed it up, but there we go. And that kind of flat lines. So that's the ice zone. Was not the top though. We'll use the old top there. So I would have the top is this 1808 quarter, and then the bottom is the bottom of the stop run 787.75, 16.787.75. So then you go to this is the spreadsheet I use. My room has access to this. You can get access to it as well. If I can find it. So that's in the document too. If you go here, but not there, here. If you want access to the spreadsheet, if you can't get in my trade room, you can get the subscription here, scalpelseeingtrader.org, along with my inflection zones too, right? So that's a spreadsheet, inflection zones, and those are the easy trades I take. All right, so let's plug this in. It's nice NASDAQ to wait for me here. So what I do is I put the zone price in the spreadsheet, right? 16. Got 808 quarter, and then the bottom is 16.787.75. So that is where the volume event occurred. Then I plug in the current ATR. It's 22.74. Now this tells me everything I need to know, right? Based on I put in what I'm risking per trade. You put in your account size, what you want to risk. I'm risking 10% of these. Which you don't want to be risking 10% of your account size on trades. You'll make it 2%. But for these Apex accounts, I'm risking 10%. We'll go over that as well. And now I want to see, how this I judge if the event is bullish or bearish by if you can get an ATR out of here, right? So that's the validation price. So if this touches 31, it's a bullish event. If it touches 65, it's a bearish event. And then if one side touches, the other side's invalidated, right? So let me just gonna move this up just so it's not confusing here. Just gonna uniform. You see, it's just hanging out in this zone right now. By the way, what's going on with my? I'm definitely getting out of my ES at the blue lug if it can make it down there. It's just sitting here, spinning in place. Nothing going on. So I'm still short half. All right, so let's see where we're at here. I mean, technically this is a nizzy, but this is kind of a, the market came back into the zone here. That the way I trade these are fades, right? Fades into the zones. This isn't really a fade in the zone. It was in the zone and it came back, and now I'm getting a volume of that. So you could take it as I'm not really going to press my luck with that. What I can take now, because the algo guy is flip bearish, I will take barks and licks off of that event. So what does that mean? It means if this gets an ATR below there, kind of like I showed you with crude going the other way, retest fails, I'll take the bark, and I'm pretty sure there's a lick down there somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, I mean that's good enough. It's not crazy lick, but it is decent liquidity. So I'll put on barks and lick shorts there. Other than that, I can't really go long here. This isn't, like I said, this is kind of just sitting in this zone, so it's not really an easy long. So I'm just looking for shorts off of this. Again, I'm not real excited about shorting more until this thing could start to. It's under 2,000, so that's good. But you want to see this overall market starting to sell off, and you want to start to see some serious tick readings that are negative, close to negative 1,000. So it doesn't stop me from trading it, but it does definitely. Like I said, if the market starts moving my way, I'm ready to get out of something like I did with the ES. And I still think I should probably cover the rest of this, but I'm pushing my luck here to see if this thing can get down to the blue lug. So we'll see there, Torture Fest in there. You guys got questions? Throw them in the YouTube Discord. What else was I going to show you guys? Let's see what NASDAQ looks like. So NASDAQ bounced right off of that. So this was Confluence. If I was short, and I could have gotten short earlier. I think there was an iLUG-U set up too. That's this one of my strategies. Anyway, if I just missed it. So if I took, we'll look at it here in a second. If I took it, I definitely would be getting out of some here. You got yellow lug, and you got extreme standard deviation of VWAP, and you get these algos that play that extreme standard deviation, especially if nothing's really going on in the market, and you can see by the relative volume it's starting to die down, and that's when the algos start to take over and run you ragged. And here we go. All right, so just keep an eye on that. A little torture on ES here. Crude still hanging here along crude. Again, I'm watching closely that red lug up there. I will, if it can't push through there right away, I'll get out of my bark trade. I'm going to try to keep on my lick till it gets to this liquidity. Other than that, let's see what else I missed. So you want your alerts up. You hear it, but sometimes you're not hearing it. So if you miss something, you can just go back to this alert page and see what's going on. So I'm going to show you the complaint about this bounce trade I missed today too, but something else just fired off in here. So to get that, just go to File and Alerts, and you can get the text as well. This is a Dumb and Dumber. These were buy stops, and it failed. But this is what I missed earlier, and I heard it, and I didn't get over here. And look at this. This is just a whopper trade. So Algo guy has been bullish all day, so I could have taken barks and licks off of that event. I'm more mad, like I said, I'm mad because I did hear this and I just didn't pull it up. So this was just, first you had the buy ice, then you had sell ice, then you have the same routine, move the ATR away, retested. I should have been long barks and licks. There was lick there at the time. And this is a whopper. This is almost a point. That's a big trade in bonds. It's $31.25 a tick, $31.25 a tick. So that's a huge trade that I missed. Granted, I would have been out, so the way I trade these, right? So this is how I trail my stops. So if I would have got in there, I would have put my stop, the ATR below there. That's all in the spreadsheet. Then would have been watching these new events as they occur, and I trail my stop to the new event. So I would have been stopped out, but it still would have been a nice trade. It still would have been about at least 10, 15 tick winner at $31 a tick. So it still was a good trade. But anyway, this is the most current event. Let's see if we are in an ISI zone, and I could possibly short this. So you can see, right, this is why I use these zones. So these are my important areas. Did you see me do anything in this yet? No, I should have, actually. I still might be able to put this on. But the point is, I look for volume events at my important areas. You may have most of you have other important areas you look at. That's completely fine. It would behoove you to wait for something real time, aka the volume events, in those areas. And then you have the distinct edge that most traders do not have. All right, let's throw this in here. These values are off here. Just look at the right here for the actual. Let's just make sure this is correct. Yeah, it's basically looks like it was one tick. Stop run. I have notes on here too. This is drawn all over the place. We have to adjust this. I wouldn't be using. Let's see, but it was the other day anyway. I guess yeah. See, I had it at 1,000. I think you need more like 3,000 for your threshold in here if you're trading notes. But this is drawing. The automatic drawing tool is drawing at 1,000. I'm not going to trade that right now. It's usually notes are like watching paint dry. It's like trading corn. But you have the drawing tool if you want it. So I'm just going to make this the one tick 123.03 to 123.02, and I may take an ISI short here in bonds. 123.02. Bonds ripped off the page as well yesterday. ATR in here is 0.184, so I'm just using a 5-minute average true range. That's short for ATR. ATR is short for average true range. It's 5-minute, 14-period wilders. You can get this on most platforms. So I should have been short aggressively at 27, and this tells me how many I can put on. You know, it's at 1. You can round up. I'm just going to put on 1 because I'm not, if I can still get in this trade. Yeah, it's right here right now. So I'm going to short my ISI. The problem with putting 1 on it is you're all in, or it's all or nothing. That's working. So I will short that. I should already be short it just because it already traded 27. So if it comes back to 27, I'm short. ISI. Bounce. There you go. Hey, what do you know? All right, so this is getting close to this blue log. Again, in this environment, I'm not going to play games here. I just filled in bonds, by the way. So bonds are moving right along with equities, right? In the old days, it used to be opposite. Now they move together, right? All right, this is getting real close. We're at extreme standard deviation. There's really nothing in market profile, but this is blue lug. I'm hoping I can get one more swipe down. It's about 4 points away, and I'm going to cover if it can't push through there. You can see this zone is really big that I shorted in. It's because I had to go back like 5 years or whatever, however many years. I don't know if it was 5 years, but the last time we were up here, I can only pull up a daily chart, so that's why the important areas that I trade off of, that I draw these zones to, they're much wider on a daily chart. That's why that zone's wider. All right, and we want to keep an eye on Hero too, just so you can see how powerful that thing is. I never did anything here in Russell. Surprisingly, it just stays strong like it does every day. I mean, this Russell and Dow, we talked about it last week. It was forewarning you this move was going to happen. Like, it was so strong. The S and then Q just could not break, and then that thing rips off the page, right? And then they all follow. So this thing was so strong to begin with. And then this is just textbook balanced breakouts, right? This is structure, breakout, buy. That's just nutty. That's a nutty move. But don't ever just short because you think things can't keep going, because they can keep going. Anyway, of course, I'm sure I missed a trade there. We'll look at it. Right in that ISI zone, these are the best ISIs. I mean, yeah, I went right through here, but the point is, I don't just hop in these zones. I wait for the volume event. Let's just see what I missed up there. I'm hoping I didn't miss anything, but no. This was actually a bullish event, but it doesn't look like it did. This is actually a new strategy we're coming up with. This will be the like I told you, I have 6 distinct strategies right now, or setups. Strategies are the setups at important areas, right? We have 6 distinct. There's going to be another one I'm still working on. It's called hot knife through butter. I don't want to confuse you guys, but this will look like that was hot knife through butter. So you get in right when it breaks the zone, put your stop right above it. It's a great risk reward trade, but it's kind of a flip type of trade where you can get stopped out a couple times. So I'm not going to get into it right now. I don't even like talking about it in my trade room yet until we get the full rules on it. But that's another great thing about this course too. When I add it, it's going to be in this course. So it'll send you an email that it's something updated in this course when I put that in. Right. So this is all the stuff in the course. All right. I think someone just texted me in my trade room. Let me see here. And again, if you guys got questions, throw them in the YouTube. Madam Shizzle calling for a 0. She haven't done that for a while. That's a pretty bold call, Madam Shizzle. This is my favorite part of the day when she puts those in. For ES, did you move your stop to break even? Why would I, Gabriel, you're in the room. Why would I move my stop to break even? Now I'm hoping you have a reason. I hope I missed an event, or else you're going to get a verbal lashing on the webinar. Why would I move my stop to break? That's what traders that don't do well, that don't make it, that's what they do. Why would I move it to break even? Do I see anything here? That's what traders do. They're I got this run, man. I don't want to give back that profit. I'm going to move it to break even. Well, I would already been stopped out, right? You don't think this is what these algos are set for? They're set because, once they see there's nothing happening, then they start their games, and they know traders trail their stops, so they stop out traders, and then it continues. Gabriel, why would I trail my stop to break even? The only time I would trail my stop to break even, it wouldn't even be based on break even. It would be based on a new event. If a new event comes in, then I trail my stop that's still up there to the new event. I trail my stop based on something that's happening in the market, not that something I'm wishing for or don't want to happen for my personal reasons. See what I'm saying? That is one of the biggest mistakes traders make, is the break-even thing, or just taking some profit. Like, yeah, I'll take profit. We talk about this all the time. And ran on again. I got to pull it up because my computer restarted. Trading in the zone document. Let's pull that up in here so I can rant on that a little bit. Trading strategies. Gabriel, please answer me, because it's a good, even though you're going to get a verbal lashing for it, it's a good example of, because most traders are doing the same nonsense, and it's costing, it's just, you're not going to make it as a trader if you do that, in my opinion. And I've been trading for a little bit. All right, there's that. So I pay myself as the market makes money available to me. Yes, right? I know we're looking for R's and risk reward, absolutely, but I don't ignore important areas just because because I'm imposing my will on the market. Like when I get in a trade, all right, I'm in this trade, I'm in it for 3R. Well, that's just silly in my opinion, right? Like, yeah, when you put on trades, you should expect bigger moves, right? So I'm holding on a piece trying to get to the blue lug, but I don't just ignore important areas because it's not at 3R. That's ridiculous, right? It's just like that doesn't make sense to me. So if we get to important areas and it struggles, and I have things I look at, like I showed you the tick strike, and I showed you market pulse, and obviously real-time events, if it gets there and it's struggling, then I'll get out of some, right? I don't just ignore those areas and say, okay, well, it's not at 3R, so I'm just going to hold it and then watch it do that, right? So, but the break-even thing is ridiculous. Does the market care about you breaking even? No, it cares about important areas and volume events. So I will not get out of this trade unless it hits important areas. We already saw me get out of half at whatever that was earlier. I can't remember. Daily value area low and baby lug. And I'll get out of the other portion at blue lug if it's actually down here, if it can't get through there. Other than that, the only other way I'll get out of my trade is if I get a new event and it turns bullish. Then I'll get out. All right. Gabriel better have answered in there. Shack DC. Check. What? I have a question for the chat if anyone knows how to set up the sweeps. Black and white balls. Yeah, it's just here. You gotta. So this is why you want the Global Plus too, because you get the sweeps indicator. That's all in that document I gave you here. Right. So I even give you the. I think I give you the examples. I mean the comparison thing, or maybe that's in my course. I think it's in your course, but in my course. Anyway, this is. If you click any of these, you get discounts too. Anything I have in here, most of the stuff is discounts. This Apex, we'll talk about Apex. Spot Gamma, use this. You get 2 free weeks of the hero. Speaking of which, I'm going to keep that up because. All right, it's just kind of spinning there. Anyway, Global Plus is what you want. Like if you're using the Thinkorswim's very basic. It's not. You're not getting this stuff, and this is the most important stuff. Anyway, sweeps indicator. I put mine to the threshold for my stop runs. I put it for 5. Like this is a yes. I put it for 500, and then you can adjust the way it looks down here. So I use black for sells, aggressive sellers, white, because I just need to break up the colors. I'm colorblind on top of it, and I don't need all these same colors on my. So that's how I separate them. And that's it. You adjust all this other stuff here. This is all customizable, but I use it. I just have that at reset. I mean at default. All right. Check Discord. Well, Gabriel, I want you to put it in here because I want people to see.
Gold stocks top 5 GC, 163 contracts.
You didn't put anything in Discord either. I think I have the wrong trading in the zone doc because it says after second. No, Gabriel, that is for the reversion trade. Those were initial rules. So, dude, what are you doing? I mean, you've been in this room for months. In every webinar, if you ever see me in a webinar, ever once move my stop to break even, ever, never. I've never done it. What you're referring to, and I don't even think that's in there anymore, is the trading in the zone document. When we came up with the reversion trade, we did it in the room, and it was all based on this, right? So this is straight out of Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, right? So he's talking about if you come up with rules, and that's what all these trading strategies are. I have distinct rules, right? So the reversion trade was born in my trading room because I kept seeing for years and years and years these events, and I would say it's 70% or higher that they retest the events. So we came up with a trade. I'm like, okay, well, why do I keep saying it's 70% and not take advantage of that trade? So I said, okay, this is a perfect example of something that I think is an edge. Let's come up with the strategy. Pick any market. Choose a set of variables. So these were the variables. Let's see. Yeah. So this is what we came up with. Here. This is out of the book. This wasn't even me. I was just putting down what he said to do. If you want to back test an exercise, and then come up with a trading strategy. But I've never once said ever for my position trading, and I don't even do this on the reversion trades anymore. This is out of the book, so I don't know what you're watching in my room, but I've never talked about that. You're better than that. Shake the tail when you walk, Spanish. Movie. I've used it before. You can become an A+. You can become a teacher's pet if you know the movie. Spanish, put the head back on and shake the tail when you walk. You're scaring the kids. It's old school. Guys, you gotta laugh in this game or you will lose your mind. Take it from me. All right, so once again, we get on the webinars and then the markets just stop trading. But at least you got to see my ballsy short, because that is a perfect example. That short felt absolutely horrific. Felt terrible. I'm like, I'm going to get my head ripped off on this trade, right? But it fit my parameters, the Izzy zone, the volume event, and I did it again on this one event here, and it worked, right? That's what I'm talking about. Stop trading off of what you feel should happen and trade off what your rules are and what you see happening. Right? So that was a pretty ballsy trade, even though I'm not out of all of them, and this very easily can rip back. If this thing turns around and starts going, this thing's going to rip to new highs. But I'm just trying to squeeze out another 4 points here, which was kind of stupid. But like I said, I got out of half. If it comes back, it's not going to be the end of the world. All right, see if you guys got any other questions in here. Gabriel, you're in the doghouse, by the way. I'm going to give you more verbal lashings in the PM webinar. What are my sweep settings? I talked about that. I set those to my stop runs, to whatever the threshold is. again, guys, that's all my course, right? The setups, the thresholds, that's all in the course, right? Right here. Then I go over all the settings, the product thresholds, bookmap settings, everything. Subchart settings, sweeps indicator, this is all in here. And there's going to be another setup here too. And then using the ATR, the advanced trading of zones, and then drawing zones, because this is trade. I got to put more examples in here, but this has changed because I used to draw them. I was drawing them incorrectly, right? Actually, drawing zones here, and then I've added. So as you, these are like the original rules. I just put these in here, and then as you progress, then these are showing the updated, like how you really draw them. Because I used to draw them. Let's see if I'm sure I can find an example here, like to the whole. Speaking of which, is this a bearish setup in NASDAQ? But I used to incorporate every price that happened in the spike, and I have mine on reset mode, and that's not correct. That's just, it draws for a minute because of what I imposed on the SI chart. That doesn't mean that's where the icebergs were for that full minute, and that's where I was making the mistake. But we got it cleared up. We're drawing them correctly now, and this is the drawing tool is drawing them pretty accurately on its own, and that's the whole point. So again, for the drawing tool, you guys have access to that if you want to try it out. It's not going to cost you anything right now. It's not my baby anyway. It's the developer in the room made it. He's in my trade room. Go here. Here's the guy. Tells you what to do. You need to contact Andrew, and it's in here. Right. So if you go to the Bookmap Discord, it's down here. So you just go over here and say, where's it at? It's down there. It's got zones. Contact Andrew right here. This is what I said he should do. I hope he has done it. So there you go. That's how you get the drawing tool. I don't know if I mentioned it's the strongest edge in the history of trading futures that I've ever seen. All right, did this get an ATR below here to make this a bearish event? This is the first question. Shockingly, it moved back to the zone. I don't know if that was a reversion trade or not. Let's see here. I want to make sure this ATR is up to date. It's 25.65 now. So the validation price was 62. Did not get anywhere near that. So I still don't know what this event is, and it's been spinning around for 40 minutes, basically 30 minutes. Meaning I need to see 62 to make that a bearish setup. Then I can go short. Other than that, it's a bullish setup. I can't do anything long here right now unless this flips back up, because this is my filter for my bark and lick strategies. It's trying. So there is a way I can go long that setup, right? So if this market goes like this, pulls this blue back above, then it comes back, tests that, retest that event. I'll go long. Actually, is this an Izzy trade here I'm missing? Hold on. I might be able to go long Izzy. Izzy's don't use. Yeah, this is an Izzy. I mean, you had this zone that's kind of sat in, but this is the most current one. This is an important zone. This is from yesterday, right? You had a little bit of a gap up today. This was a monster buying tail yesterday. Tails are very, very important. It's instant rejection. So I will go long in Izzy trade here if this moves out of here. Then that's the first move out. Unless it invalidates to the downside. If it touches that, and you can see these are the same prices. So the validation for a short setup is the invalidation for the long setup. So as long as this doesn't touch 62, I can go long this setup. I'm going to go long at 37.75. I can put on 3 micros, and it's not a ton, but it's based on the size of the zone and the current ATR. You adjust this. You don't adjust what you want to risk. I know I harp on this every week. So many of you poor traders, the same guys that are trailing their stops to break even, are saying, when I put on a NASDAQ trade, I love to just risk 10 points to make 20. 10 points, the market doesn't care. You want to risk 10 points. Trade-off is something the market cares about. This market can push. You get in a trade. If I get long this market, or if I get long this trade, I'm going to force this thing for me to be wrong, not 10 points or 20 points. Damn, I wish I would have got out of that ES. Anyway, I force it to come back to the full ATR after I get in, get through the volume event, then push another ATR out, and then I say I'm wrong. Other than that, I don't, and that's to avoid this nonsense. You see this? See this these guys taking your cash, flipping you back and forth, driving you crazy. That's what I avoid when I do that. If they can pull that all the way back there, if I get long, congratulations, on to the next trade, on to the next trade, on to the next trade. If you have an edge, you just keep putting the trade on. And this is the best edge. If you're going to take my word with my 25 years experience and watching millions and millions and millions of contracts come through the market, you might want to listen to me, right? This is the best edge. And if you have an edge that genuinely puts the odds of success in your favor, and you can think about trading the approach, this is right out of the book, the 5 fundamental truths, then you have your rules. There's your edge. And then you just sit there and keep putting the trade on. You're going to have losers in your trading. That's what trading is. It's probabilities. Over the long run, every week, like into a casino, right? Casinos deal out. Some whale comes in, waxes them for $1 million. Do they shut everything down? Well, they'll cheat and tell the guy he's got to leave a lot of times, because like they did to me, I'm banned in Vegas. I'll tell you that story maybe if it slows down. I'll wait it is slow. Maybe I'll tell the story a little bit. But yeah, they can do that, but they don't just stop dealing blackjack to the casino, right? Because they know if they just keep dealing, the odds will, because they have the edge, their mathematical edge, they'll make money in the long run. Same with this. If you have an edge, the biggest problem is traders don't know if they have a true edge or not. They see something work 2 or 3 times and then they start trading it and then it stops working and they abandon it, right? This is the edge. Now you just have to work on your rules for it. I'm giving you my rules. If you want to use those, great. If you want to use your own, great. Make sure you're using these events. And then you got to work on yourself, right? Like that. I don't even want to know how many people in my room skipped those shorts up there because it felt like the thing was going to rip another 100 points. I felt the same way, but I still put on the damn trade, right? Because you're playing the probabilities. Until you can think like that, you're never, ever going to make it or be consistent. Why is this not getting off my screen? All right. So this is a new event here. Let's see if Algo Guy. So Algo Guy's starting to pull. So here's a perfect example. Now I can trail my stop, right? So did I trail my stop to break even? I got out of half in those areas we talked about earlier. I didn't trail my stop to break even. Now there's a reason to trail my stop, a new event. So now I'm going to plug this event in the spreadsheet, 47.83 to 47.81.50, and it's going to tell me where I trail my stop to. Right now, my stop for that remainder was all the way up at, where am I at here? 96.50. It was all the way up here. It was an ATR at the time above that zone. Now, here's a new event. Plug that in, trail it to that. That's how I trail my stops. It would behoove you to do the same if you don't want to be algoed to death. 47.81.50. ATR 5.69. So it's moving around. Now my stop instead of 96.50 is 89.50. So I just saved myself 7 points of risk. The issue with this one is I do not like to stop out in prior events. So it's supposed to be right there. I'm just going to move it up a little bit here. So I'm not saving as many points, but I don't want to stop out because so many times these markets bounce off. That's what they do. So that's why I want to get out of that zone. So I'll put it at 91.50. So I'm going to risk 2 more points above there. And that's how I trail my stops. And if this thing keeps moving down, then I'll trail it based on a volume event. Still have 9 on. 91.50. All right, that has changed. I can't really do anything on the short side off of this event because Algo Guy's not bullish or bearish yet. If this pulls across, then we'll see. Izzy-wise, I mean, this is sitting in the zone. This is a wide zone. I mean, you could take an Izzy long if you want. I would not unless I possibly will do it if it goes ATR retest failure. It's just a variation of the Izzy. And it shows it in here, right? So I talk about it in here. Izzy trades, inflection zone trades, nickname Izzy. Take fade trades with moves in a prior inflection zones. In the case of a zone that is directly or above below multi-day balance areas, trade is still taken but needs ATR retest confirm. And this is also this. This also implies to a situation that the market is accepting in the zone. So this is accepting in the zone. So I could take a Izzy long here off of this event, but I need to see ATR retest failure. So what I would do is get long where I'm getting out of my short. So we'll see if that happens. You could take bark and lick longs off of this if it doesn't violate to the downside, and this tells you right now if it did. Right? You just use these prices in the spreadsheet. Did this invalidate? Long invalidation is 75.75. Did not get down there. So this is not invalidated yet. So I could take a long off this as well. Barks and licks, because algo guy is still bullish. So I would need to see that for bark and lick. I'm sure it's still up.
150 contracts.
That lick's not a,
Sell NQ, 150 contracts.
that lick's not a that great a risk reward. You can see this liquidity up here. So if this holds, I'm going to go long bark, I'm going to go long lick, and I'm going to stop out of my short all at the same price. Right? So I'm going to flip out of my short and go long. You see that lick up there? We already know everything's still bullish. This is why this market is not breaking down. You can see this thing is still close to trend up day, close to positive 2000. This thing cannot, ES or NYSE tick can't get below 500. NASDAQ tick can't get below 500. So this very well can do this. And then the other thing you really want to watch, you see this hero start to move up, bye-bye. We're going to have another rip to the upside. That's just, it's just one of the entities in here, but it's a big fuel. So you start seeing a billion or more move like it moved down, watch out, right? So how you can use that is, if everything's, say we had all these bullish factors in the favor, and then you see that, well, and then you get that, well, you can trade bigger size because you know you got the options activity helping your the wind at your sails too, right? It's just one entity in the market. It's a very important entity, especially when you get loaded up options dealers that have to hedge their position so they don't get their heads ripped off. I got to take a breath here, chirping this entire time. So put questions in YouTube if you can. It's just easier for me than hopping back and forth between Discord and YouTube. Just making sure you guys didn't put it in. And then here we go. So Russell, that's just been leading. I didn't draw any things in here. I can do the same thing with Russell, which I will do because this thing is just inherently bullish nonstop lately. Not quite. It's still bearish algo guy for barks and licks, but it's right on top of each other. It's about to pull, and that's when you get these algos that jump in on that. That's why it's called algo guy. When you get the cross, they jump in like this one here. See where this crossed? Algos jump in. As soon as the blue gets below the red, they jump in. So if this crosses again, you're going to get at least that factor. You got those algo wind at the sales too. So you got a question, then we'll draw this Russell zone. I'm talking about the black and white balls. I have Global Plus for their data. It's real at the bottom of the right. The black and white balls are sweeps. Are you talking about? I mean, these are sweeps, right? Those are sweeps. But how to set this time slice? I'm not using time on these charts. It's not based on time because it's impossible to do it on Bookmap. I've already tried. You don't need time. Why? It has nothing to do with time when I'm looking. Yeah, you see the time here, but nothing is based on time. You're basing your stuff on volume, right? You can look if you want time. Use the 5-minute charts and that stuff. I think that's. I don't know what you're talking about otherwise. Why not put ATAR configuration into a fib tool and skip the spreadsheet? What do you mean? What do you mean a fib tool? You can do it. You can do that. Try it out. Let me know how it works. Guys, the options are endless. Things you can do. That's what I do. If you have something that's incredible, point it out. Come to my trade room, show it, or you can talk about it in here. I'll look at it, but I don't know why. I don't trade off the fibs. I'm not saying they're not powerful in certain instances, but I don't trade off of them. Why would I plug my ATR into that? Lois, I don't know if it's just sweeps or if he uses absorption. I don't have absorption on this chart. You could use them. It's just too much on my chart. I don't really need that for what I'm doing. You're seeing absorption. The major absorptions are icebergs. That's the daddy of absorption, right? Icebergs are absorption. They're absorbing these orders. These are hidden orders in the order book that trigger once they absorb. So I don't need the absorption. I'm seeing it on here. This is the absorption I care about, the icebergs. He is scrolling around, so you will never have the same as he. I don't know what that means. scrolling around. What does that have to do with that stuff? Also, if you compare stops and icebergs to other traders, it will never match exactly. Not necessarily. So get your if your clock is set. So I'm not going to get into this because I always forget how to do it. Make sure your clock's set to the and here, I'll just show it really quick. I'll try. Hold on. Click on that. Time automatically. See, I always forget how to get it. Sync now. So I'm set. This is set to time.nist.gov. You hit sync now, and then your zone should draw almost identical movie. Someone tell me that movie, your teacher's pet for the day. Identical. My cousin Vinny. You guys are terrible. But it should be identical to what I'm doing. I told you guys I'm crazy, but I'd be a lot more crazy if I didn't make myself laugh. All right, let's draw this last zone here. And Annie, you're a little late, but you're still, I think you're in my room. You get teacher's pet for the day. Nice work. At least you answered. At least I'm not talking to myself. All right, this started right there. You can see, and I got the icebergs on chart that shows this too, so you can see this black line. Started there, went up to there, went up to there, and you can see as it spiked, right? Came down to here. So I'm going to move that there. This is the most recent zone. Sell ice. Whoops. Do you say identical all the time? Do you clap your hands and then face your palms outward like he does in the movie? Identical. I love that movie. All right, so that's the last event there. I mean, this was a bigger ice event earlier. I'm just going to trade off of this now. And this is very narrow. Price is 2014.6 to 41. So go to your handy dandy spreadsheet. Again, guys, you can get this on my website. If you want it, if you get my trade room, you get it for free. If not, you can get it. It's the core of my trading. I mean, I can't trade without this thing, and it saves so much time than trying. I used to, if you watch my webinars from years ago, I've been doing Bookmap webinars for 7 years now. I used to just eyeball it like ATR and everything else. Here, you just plug this stuff in, and everything's done for you. 2014.6. Oops. 2014.6. 2014.1. ATR is 66. That's a lot. That's wide. 6.61 means it's rotating about 60, almost 70 ticks every 5 minutes. All right, so I don't think that got an ATR below here. Definitely didn't. And what did I say I could do here? Algo guys polling. Was this a? Let's see if this was a Izzy trade. That I already missed. Sure was. So volume event. Market came back, bounced off this Izzy zone right there with a volume event. So I should be long this trade aggressively. Hold on, Russell. Hold on. So the stuff all looks like it's about to turn bullish, right? Based on these setups and stuff. That's the most important thing. Again, long at 22, I could put on, is that right? Did I do something wrong here? Oh no, that's what I'm sorry. 1.6 of a RTY or 7. I'm going to round up 7 M2K at 22, last 2 digits. So another 20 ticks and I'm long. This is the Izzy trade. I'm putting on 7. Hold on here. All right, that is working. Another 15 ticks, I'll be long Russell. Then there's a possibility I can put out, so that's the Izzy trade, that's the inflection zone trade I just showed you. Then if this does this, I could put on Barks. I can't really put on a lick off of that liquidity, it's too close, but there's liquidity up here, nothing. I could just put on a bark because this thing will be pulled by then. It's pulling right now. See, now you get, here come these algos that play, see how it's crossing? That's just one entity, kind of like the hero. It's not as powerful as the hero, but it's got that on my side too. All right, so I'll go long aggressively there, and if it retest fails, I can take the bark long as well. Still on this ES short. We saw when I'm stopping out here. Actually, that might be disqualified. What was the disqualifying price for that, for the long? 75.75. Did I get down to 75.75? Yes, it did. So the long idea for this event is off the table. So I'm not going to put on Izzy long. What did I say? Bark and Izzy. Okay, yeah. There's nothing to do. So I can't go long this. This isn't officially a short setup, but for what algo guide for my filter for my barks and licks, this is not pulled across yet. So it's just bouncing off of the longer term exponential moving average. All right, I just filled out my Russell long. And then see, there's your usual, what's been going on lately. Russell and YM leading the show. I'm long there, and my stop's 2006.5. I got 7 on. Let me check. What did I say? 2006.5. All right, that is working. So I got stopped at that bond short. I just put one on, and I actually forgot to put my stop in. I just saw it and got out. But, this doesn't surprise me. I took a shot at this, but you can see what I didn't look at. I don't know why. It's staring me in the face. Where did I enter? At 27. Remember I took the short here? The Izzy short? Well, I just entered right in the middle of those prior events. I should have put it down to here. Yeah, it's another 6 or 7 ticks, but it's better than getting these markets these are traders that are trapped. When the market comes back, you see it already bounced off there once. They say, let me the hell out, because they were wrong. That's why I put them outside the zone. So that was a mistake on my part, and then I just paid for it. Because I would have never put that trade on. So there you go. That's a nice mistake. So I can bitch about for the rest of the webinar. Crude still just spinning around here. I'm still long. I got some up here when I couldn't get through this resting liquidity, and it's just spinning here. But I still think this thing's going to launch. Doesn't matter what I think. My trade's on with my stop. I just, I have opinions, but I don't trade off my opinions. I trade off my rules. I don't know if I mentioned that today. NQ just validated short. Thank you. Nice work, Cherie, right? I knew a Cherie in college. I just graduated last year, so just kidding. Graduated college going on 30 years ago. No, that's just pathetic. That just makes me sad. Yes, this is a short setup now. Algo guy's bearish. I can't take barks and licks. Now I need to see the retest. So what was that price? It was 62, right? Something like that. Let's see. You can see I don't really like this after I just got long, but I'm still short. I got opposing positions on it. It is what it is. I don't put on one, not put on my long because I'm short ES. They're different strategies. I put them on, right? Hold on. I do want to watch this ES because I'm not messing around with that blue lug. If it gets down a blue lug, I'm out of this guy. And it's real close here. So before I head over to NASDAQ, because I need a retest anyway, I am not. You see where we're at? Like, this starts to bounce at all, I'm out of these shorts. This is where you can use your tick strike. If they're hammering these FANG stocks, or what do they call them now, Mag 7, right? You can stay in it. You won't use your market pulse. You can see the sellers are engaging here. You can see the sweeps. I'm not going to get out right now. If this area fails, I'm getting out. Blue lug. The sellers are engaging, not winning. And then especially if this thing goes quiet, I'm going to get out. So let's see. Every day the Russell just spins when stuff's... not this time, though, of course. It's going to follow along this time. Most of the days, the ES and NQ sells off and the Russell just sits there. So that sucks. That was almost to the tick entry. But guys, it's probabilities. I got my setup. I got my rules. I took the damn trade, right? If it loses, on to the next one. Over a series of trades, it's profitable because it's the edge of all edges, in my opinion. Let's see what Hero's doing here. All right, I'm watching the NASDAQ. I'm going to put it, in case I'm not on the screen, if it retest fails, I'm going to go short NASDAQ as well. That'll let me know the annoying alert when it gets up there. You can see Hero turn back down. Almost $1 billion. $800 million right now. The US really reacted to that one. All right, see, I wanted to get on. Damn it. Hold on here. This is what happens when I'm on these webinars. All right, I'm out. So I gave it a shot there, right? I gave it a shot. This stuff, they were hammering some of these. I saw the sellers come in and then started to do that. I'm out. It's close enough to that blue lug. I'm not messing around at blue lug. That's why I use them, because they're so powerful. I mean, this actually tagged it. So I just cost myself 5 points letting that bounce off of that. But see right there? That's why we use them. They're ridiculous. And ridiculous in a good way. There we go. That could be it. All right, so I'm out of my short. There's no longs there. If this NASDAQ retest fails, I'll go short Barks and Licks. There's liquidity down here. But this may just go here and right through it. I don't know yet. I can't put on a long off of this setup, right, because it validated to the short side. And then I'm long Mr. Russell. I call it Russell because one time I mistyped it in the voice thing here on your sub chart. Actually, I'm going to put that back in because it makes me laugh. You got it. Like I said, you got to laugh when you trade or you lose your mind. Russell. Actually, that's text, but voice. You can see just little things amuse me.
Crude ice iceberg by CO, 150 contracts.
All right, so now, what do we just hear? Crude. Russell. All right. Come on, Russell. Time to move up. Now I'm not short of yes. Now I want it to rip off the page. Here we go. Perfect example. Did you see me do it? Did you see me trailing my stop to break even? What would have happened if I trailed my stop to break even right now? Like 8 times. I would have been whipsawed out of this trade. Nothing's happening. Here you go. Algoville. My stop was still down here. I didn't do anything. Now, here's a new event, something that matters. Now I'm going to trail my stop to this event. Right? Now we plug in, and I can trade off of this as well, potentially. Now we got, I can add to them because I got Barks and Licks on. So here's the spike right there. Whoops, that's not what I want. Don't break down on me, tick strike. There we go. So you can see that triggered right there. See that sub bubble smack dab in the middle of it? Triggered right there. Started coming in. Moved up, came back down, triggered more. Came back down, triggered more. So this is a perfect example. As this is how I used to do this. Right? As of just right now, don't count that yet. I used to say, okay, that's the zone because all these prices occurred in this spike. No, it was just one price. And you can see it every time it tags, right? Then you follow it across. So here, there's nothing going on. That is not icebergs happen. This is just, it's following across for the minute reset mode I have it on. Then it moves up. They try to sell it more here. Triggered more. So that zone actually drew perfectly. Nice job, Johan. He's the trader that developed this thing. So 72 to 71.97 is your zone for crude. What am I doing? 72. ATR in here is 0.151. There's some auction. Those actually have been meaningful lately, so heads up on that. That's coming out at 10 minutes. Meaningful for the stock market, or for equity futures. Anyway, all right, so now my new stop price is going to be, if I were to go long this setup, which I still might, but I'm long from my prior setup, 71.80. Right? So now, what I'm going to do, because something happened in the market, not because I trailed my stop to break even, I was long off of that, stop was down here. Now, trail my stop to that, 71.80. And then I can actually take Barks and Licks off of this event and add to that trade. So you can see on a trending day, if you keep getting events, you keep trailing to the last event and you can keep adding, you can have 4, 5, 6 positions on. And that's when you have a month you're making day. I tell you guys all the time. Huge misconception in trading is you're going to make 500, whatever you come up with. I want to make $1,000 a day. Yeah, great. You can average $1,000 a day. Are you going to make $1,000 every day? No, this is not a real job. They don't pay you to come to work. So yes, over the long run, over a year's time, you can average $1,000. You're not going to come in here and generate $1,000 a day every day. It's not going in whatever amount you think. It's not going to happen ever. It's just the nature of the markets. You can average. So the point is, most of your trading is going to look like that. Make a little, lose a little, make a little, lose a little. Then you have a monster day. Kind of like if you catch a trend day with this stuff. Excuse me. Most traders have between 5 and 10 days that make up almost their entire P&L in a year, right? So if you can use that mentality, you're not pressing, you're not, every day you're not trying to catch, you're just okay with back and forth, and then you kill it, back and forth, and you never have one of these because you should be stopping yourself out at 5 or 6% of your account size on a loss in a day. So you limit the downside, and your upside is unlimited on certain days, hypothetically, right? All right, let me move this stop here. I got Barks and Licks on. And we'll hopefully I can add to it. 7180. That's Lick. This is Bark. All right, those are working. If this holds, I'm going to add to it. NASDAQ has not retested that zone. Still waiting for that potentially. I got out of my short here. Again, it doesn't mean it can't blow through that lug. It blows through lugs all the time. But they're very powerful. But if it does, it's giving me information as well. Relative volume isn't that impressive here either. So those usually you want to, if it blows through lugs, you're seeing heavy relative volume a lot of the times. It means bigger players are playing. All right, any other questions? Cherie, nice call again on the validation. I'm sure none of my room members said that. They're all in the doghouse. You can't hear squawk in my room, so we have a squawk box in my room. Let me refresh that for you, Madam Shizzle. Yeah, it's spinning on Discord, so it's Discord's fault. Let me reset this. A lot of times when I get on this webinar,
Icebergs sell RT.
Here's Russell.
151 contracts.
There you go. It should be working. All right. So now what do I do? Well, it's not that far away, but now I trail my stop to this event. Right. And I could potentially add to this, like I added in my. So I added in those Izzy shorts to ES earlier when I saw 2 events. Remember I showed you guys. Remember when we got on. We got this event. It was in the inflection zone. It was that event. Shorted that. Came up. Got another one. I said, what the hell? Why not? And I shorted that one too. I don't usually put on 2, especially in that market environment, but it worked. So I had double size on. So now, in this case, I can do the same thing going the other way. I got long off of this Izzy. Now, if this Izzy holds, I can go long off of that because this is still in that zone, right? That inflection zone. Where's it at?
11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The US sells $80 billion in 4-week bills. Prior high yield of 5.28.
I just love how my charts just disappeared. Like, just no idea where I went. Hold on. Nope. That's Algo guy. Hey, there it is. This is still in that zone. It's kind of hanging in here, so you may want to wait for retest failure. All right, let me at least trail my stop to this guy. Make sure it's drawn correctly. Triggered there. So I would move that up right now. This is how I do it, right? Start there and then just go across and see if it spiked more. That spiked up, so that's not sell ice, it's actually buy ice. Not that meaningful. And then it really spiked here. Right there. So the top's right. So 74 to 71 is your price. Last 2 digits. Again, this is tick strike. That's in that document. Everything in here, you get discounts too. Come down here. There it is. And we'll talk about Apex real quick here. I haven't really covered the last few sessions, but very I mean, you should be using it. If you are underfunded or you're trying stuff out, don't be risking your own capital is my advice. All right, what do I got to do here? Put this in 2017.4. So my stop was for the long was at 2006.5. Now when I plug this in, because I'm adjusting to something that happened in the market, now it's 95. So I just saved myself potentially 30 ticks of risk. Just want to make sure I don't stop out on that event. No. Is there another event down here? There were a couple here. So I'll move it. You know, it should be 95, but you just saw on bonds, if I would have paid attention, I wouldn't have even put that trade on. I'm not going to stop out in this guy. So it should be at 95 or whatever I just said. I'm going to move it down to 80. So I'm willing to risk that extra 15 ticks to get out of this stuff. So I'm not filling in the middle of volume events. So let me move that while I'm on here. Where am I at? Alright, that's working. Stop has been trailed. Then, because algo guy is now bullish, I believe. Bullish, pulled. Now I can take potentially barks and licks off this as well. Remember I took the Izzy. Now I can take barks and licks. Technically I could take, if this does retest this guy, because algo guy's bullish now, I could take him off of that and trail my stop to that. Otherwise I take it off of that. And then before we get off here, I'm going to get off in a few minutes. This is the Apex stuff. This is the one I know they're popping up all over the place. This is the one that I've been using this for over 2 years. Highly recommended. That's where all those trading strategies are set to. These are all the different ones you can do. I do the 150. Use this code for any. Right now, there's 71% off. I think it's for the rest of December. Whatever discount they have, just use this code and you'll get the current discount. Anyway, this is a great way to trade where you're not trading your own capital. Even if you're, and it's not just simulator because you are putting cash in, so it does hurt if you lose. So you're going to want to make, you're not going to just pretend like it doesn't matter because you still have to re-up if you lose. So the goal for this one is you got to make $9,000 before you lose $5,000. The problem with this, and I did this on an account the other day, and it actually teaches you good risk management. But if you have any kind of drawdown, which happens in trading all the time, right? You can only draw down $5,000. So I've had many, like the one that I blew out the other day, I think it was up $6,000, right? And I had a series of losing trades in that crappy market environment, and I dropped down only up 1,000, and I got knocked out. I was profitable per the account, but I got knocked out because I had that trailing $5,000 stop. So the goal is you want to make 9,000 before you lose 5,000, and you only got to do it within 7 days. It could take, you don't have to do it in 7 days. It could take you 3 months, right? But if 7 days is minimum, once you hit that, then you get an account. This is what I don't like about it. You don't get a $150,000 account. You really get a $5,000 account because that's all you can lose. The difference when you go live, you don't have that threshold trailing once you get above the watermark, right? So it'll say 150 on your account. If you go up 5,000, yeah, if you pull back there, it'll knock you out. But say you go up 10,000, if you pull back 5,000, it doesn't knock you out. You got to come all the way back to even. 20,000 all the way back even. So that's when you really, and then the other thing too, you can get multiple accounts. So yeah, this is only 5,000, but if you qualify for 10 of them, now you got it yourself. I mean, and you do the same trade in all of them. They have these trade replicators. I think it's new through Ninja Trader. I don't have it currently, but now you got a $50,000 account, right? Just do the same thing in each one. So highly recommended. I put my name behind them. This is the only one that I put my name behind. I know there's a bunch out there. A couple of them are just trying to soak you dry with the fees and everything else, and you can see this is how much they paid out. And they actually now have a Discord room, so that a lot of people are worried. Oh, what if they don't pay? They have their Discord room. Trust me, if they don't pay someone, you're going to know it in about 3 seconds. So you just go in here, main chat. There's always somebody bitching in here, but point is they're completely legit. I put my name behind them. It's the one I recommend. All right, guys, let's see if there's any other questions. Russel's starting to get some buy swipes in here too. Thank you. rip off the page now. I got out of my short. I made another attempt down there, no go. I'm glad I got out of that so far. You are getting a retest in NASDAQ here. So I'm not short yet, but if this were to do this, I'm going to take bark and lick shorts. If it does that. That's why I do that. I can wait for that confirmation. Other than that, I'm not doing anything off of that zone. And I'm long Russell, and I could go long barks and licks if we touch the validation. So for this new event, if this touches 2024 or 40, I use the last two digits, then this would be a bullish event, new bullish event, and a retest failure, and go long. You could put it on another Izzy too if you want. That's aggressive that you jump in right away and don't wait for the retest. All right, I don't see any questions in there. Last chance, you got any questions? I do this every day. I used to say twice a day, but we've been canceling the PM webinars because it's like watching paint dry because nothing's going on. Hopefully it's going to start opening up with the, with this volatility is starting to pick up, and the OPEX, I guess Friday OPEX is like humongous, so should be getting some, you get all that stuff in the spot gamma. We didn't read the spot gamma today, but you guys get this for free for 2 weeks. Check it out. It's just his analysis of what the options complex looks like to come up with a thesis type of thing. That's worth its weight in gold, and he's got these areas, right? And then you got the hero. Anyway, why was I talking about this? I forgot I was going to talk about this. Anyway, let's see if hero's turning up. And then you get the hero for all these other ones. So you can see S&P, this is all, everything combined, SPY, SPX, Mag 7. It's never really dropped. That's interesting. Russell looks decent. Both for the bulls, and Nasdaq's ripping too. So interesting. This could be it, and back to highs. And especially if you see this puppy get over 2,000 again, bye-bye. Because it definitely, and the tick can't get below 500. This is looking to me like we might rip off the page again. Again, just my thesis. I'll still take shorts if they present themselves, right? Based on what we talked about today. All right, guys, you got all my information. Trade room. Come on by so you can get some verbal lashings too. Those are always fun. Gabriel's today if you want to hear that this afternoon. All right, I'll see you guys later. Next week, next Thursday.